We are back again with another video getting to know some of the team for National Rehabilitation Awareness Week. We are traveling to the east side of the state again to meet Ben Hogan, a certified prosthetist orthotist from Mary Free Bed at Covenant Healthcare and part of the Orthotics Prosthetics and Bionic team. Ben, thanks so much for joining the interview today.
Hello, good to be here.
Why don't you introduce yourself and just tell me a little bit about you and the work you do?
My name is Ben Hogan. I'm from Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Currently working in the Saginaw location of Mary Free Bed. So we have like a mini Mary Free Bed. It's kind of cool. It's a 60-bed rehab hospital here with all of our outpatient services under one roof, which is really great. I've worked for Mary Free Bed for about 7 years, and 6 of those were spent in our Muskegon satellite clinic for O&P. I got into the field in 2011. I went to school at Eastern Michigan University. I was a bicycle mechanic with a degree in zoology. So, all of you bicycle mechanics out there, you can go into prosthetics. There's a lot of similarities between the two, actually. And yeah, I got interested. I saw an amputee actually at a bike shop I was working in that showed me his prosthesis, and it really interested me. And I got into it, started researching it, got into Eastern, did my residency in Columbus, Ohio. And yeah, I've essentially been with Mary Free Bed my entire career for the most part.
Wow. Give me like one or two little reasons that being a prosthetist is like a bike mechanic. I'm just curious about that.
So a lot of I'll start with the materials. So material science is a big part of what we do.
Hmm.
Um, Carbon fiber, aluminum, titanium, stainless steel, they all have different properties and you can apply them in different areas and for different reasons. And in cycling, actually, those materials are very common. So I had a working knowledge of those materials and how to manipulate them. And I got to make a lot of the mistakes material wise while I was a bicycle mechanic. So by the time I got into prosthetics, like I had already stripped screws and, bent aluminum too far and broke it, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's really helped me out. It's connected my skill sets in a way that I never could have imagined. It's worked out really well.
That's awesome. So this is National Rehabilitation Awareness Week, and we're talking about rehab and educating the public about it and shining the light
Yeah.
on you guys and your team. Um, Orthotics, prosthetics. What is, you guys work with physical therapists and OTs and physicians. Like, what is rehab from your view?
Well, I think that rehab, you could define it in a number of ways. At Mary Free Bed, it's a beautiful thing because rehabilitation is an interdisciplinary approach where multiple different practitioners will chime in on a patient's case and will alter things, be it introducing a brace or a prosthesis, uh, to alter the way that they are ambulating or operating in life. The physical therapist will then take over. I always define myself as the car mechanic. The PTs are the driver's training instructors. So we work very well together and we're absolutely needed. And it works awesome when we're integrated in the same network and in our case under the same roof.
Hmm.
Just because we get to Kristen is our PT here. So her and I work so closely together that she'll have a
Hmm.
patient come in for a physical therapy appointment and text me, "Hey, are you around? I need to have this person's leg adjusted," and I
Yeah.
swing over and do that for him. So rehabilitation, I suppose, the art of rehabilitation is, in an ideal circumstance, the coming together of multiple minds on multiple subjects
Hmm.
to optimize someone's performance that is otherwise in need of it.
So you have CPO behind your name,
Yep.
prosthetist and orthotist. What's the difference between
Yep.
orthotics and prosthetics?
So prosthetics is dealing with the loss of a limb. So prosthetic legs, prosthetic arms. Um, Orthotics is dealing with a limb that is dysfunctional that has to be supported in some way, shape, or form. So a lot of patients who have motor vehicle accidents or strokes, or where the limb is still intact, but it's no longer functioning the way that it should. Braces get applied to, once again, optimize their ambulation potential or
Mm.
otherwise to help them out.
So, who are the types of people that you see a majority of? Is there certain types of injuries or illness that you work with a lot? Anything that you're
Sure.
really, really passionate about?
Well, prosthetically, a lot of dysvascular patients. As we all know at this point, diabetes is such a huge driving force behind so many ailments.
Hmm.
And I'd say between diabetes and just dysvascular disorders in general, that leads to the majority of amputations. Um, in orthotics, I don't know, maybe like stroke or cerebral palsy or multiple sclerosis or some of those disorders. The the funny part is that all those things I just mentioned tend to affect people in similar ways.
Mm,
And so, from a bracing standpoint, um, we in the 21st century have access to the most materials and insight and technologies than ever before. And
hmm.
it's really awesome to be part of the field at this point because you can help people in so many ways with just the advent of carbon fiber and
Mm.
of um, 3D printing and white light scanning. It's really a cool thing to be part of.
Yeah, we're showing a video here of a little prosthetics, orthotics work that's being done on a young boy, and it's just you can see the joy in his face as he's running to his family. Like, I bet that brings you a lot of joy to help patients in these kind of moments.
Oh yeah, it's great. That's probably the best part of our jobs as CPOs is that we get to fundamentally alter someone's future for the better with a physical device. So many fields in medicine, you might intervene with a pill or with a surgery or
Hmm.
with a therapy, but we're one of the only fields that we get to intervene directly with a physical device, and we get to
Hmm.
alter that device as time goes on and work with the patient and optimize how it works for them. And so you develop such close relationships, in particular with
Hmm.
prosthetic patients, just because a prosthesis we need to alter it far more than we do with an orthosis on a regular basis to make sure that the length is still correct, alignment's still correct. And you get to watch people, the goal is to watch people flourish and to move away
Hmm.
from their assistive devices.
Hmm. Yeah, and this was a patient we worked together with that we're showing now too, and he's a double amputee, and I bet this was really complicated because it's at two different levels, like above the knee and below the knee, right?
Yes, and uh, I mean, I try not to think too much into where I think someone's going to go,
Hmm.
especially early on. I tend to let them answer that question. So what's hard in this field is to focus on what's directly in front of you and not to
Yeah.
get over your skis or whatever
Hmm.
the phrase might be. In Bob's case, he is a motivated user who wants to improve his life. And
Hmm.
I always tell people this too, that I mean, the driving force behind them, the jet engine that they're seeking is actually themselves and their drive.
Wow. Yeah.
And that makes the world of difference to my profession. Um, so yeah, Bob is an example of someone who's absolutely willing to do the work, to go to physical therapy, to continually wear the legs. It all comes down to small choices.
Yeah, and small choices, can be used in so many parts of our lives. Any other success
Yeah.
stories of people that you've worked with that just really stick and resonate with you?
Yeah. I recently had a patient here shortly after coming to Saginaw. I came here about a year ago. My wife and my family are from the area. So we moved here. I got to work with a patient who is a political science professor at SVSU, and a great gentleman, very motivated. Lost his limb above the knee from complications related to COVID. Interestingly enough, he got compartment syndrome in his leg, had to be amputated. I met with him in the hospital, so I saw him a week after his amputation, and kind of gave him the breakdown of what to expect and when to
Hmm.
expect it, which really goes just light years for a patient in regards to what to expect and who am I going to work with. And there's so many unknowns
Hmm.
that are oftentimes more scary than the event itself. So I got to work with him. Wonderful guy. We got him a leg with a microprocessor knee. He went to physical therapy 2-3 times a week. He did his part. It was his goal when he got the leg. He was going to Europe, to travel around all of Europe in, I think, 4 months after he got the prosthesis.
Wow.
And he went and he walked with a cane, and he came back. I had to make sure that he had like the special adapter for
Hmm.
European electrical outlets to charge his knee and all this. So
Good to think
it
of that.
was, yeah, it was. I know once again, it's the small things. Um, and yeah, it's just really motivating to me to be able to hear. I mean, that would be a huge goal for most people, to
Hmm.
travel out of the country with an above knee prosthesis 4 months after receiving the leg. But he did it, and he's proof that, once again, the person's drive to improve
Hmm.
themselves is the oftentimes the determining factor. And I am in awe of those people, and they inspire me just as much as I inspire them.
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. Once again, we
Yeah.
are talking with Ben Hogan, a CPO, certified prosthetist orthotist from Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation at Covenant Healthcare, part of the Orthotics, Prosthetics, and Bionics team. We're highlighting stories for National Rehabilitation Awareness Week. And you were just talking about like traveling the world, and you and some of the team have recently been doing that. I think we've gone 2 years now, people have. And why don't you tell me about this trip that you and some of the team members have done?
Sure. In October of 2021, I went with two of my colleagues from Mary Free Bed, Jim and Maria, to Guatemala to volunteer with an organization called Range of Motion Project, or ROMP for short. They've been in operation in Guatemala for, I believe, almost 20 years, if not 20
Mm,
years, and also in other areas, I believe in a couple areas in South America as well. So we went to Guatemala, and Jim had already been once, and he just had nothing but awesome things to say. And going into it, it was difficult to conceive international travel because it was shortly after COVID. It was the first
mm,
volunteer trip that ROMP had done since COVID
mhm,
had happened. And so for them, it was a big deal. For us, it was a big deal. We had to get tested before we left.
mhm.
And if we would have tested positive, we would have been in lockdown for 10 days in a foreign country. It had a lot running in the line, but I'm so glad that I did it, as were my other coworkers as well. We got there. ROMP is a awesome organization with just influential, bright minds behind it. Dave is the owner, and he, pretty much out of the kindness of his own heart, and otherwise for a motivation to help people in the world with amputations, he went to
Mhm.
Guatemala and started this program by himself. Yeah, around 20 years ago, and now it's flourishing, and now it's just part of the healthcare system there. And he's one of the only prosthetic providers in the country. So we get there. Um, they set us up in the clinic, and we just see as many patients as we can see in 5 days. And
Wow.
I think we delivered 35 legs, and we did some other things as well. And those are astounding numbers for 5 days. There's a lot
Yeah.
that goes into the production of the
Busy.
prosthesis.
Seeing the pictures in the video, you guys are doing it at night so much of the time. So we got a
It
little
was,
video. Go ahead. What were you gonna
yeah, we sweat so much.
say?
It
We
was,
got a video from I think it was 2021 of you guys going. We're gonna show a little clip from that.
sure.
When you look at the staggering statistics in the worldwide amputee population, 9 out of 10 of them don't have access to a prosthesis. So, I mean, that's what we went there to do.
Okay. All right, day one. We're here in Guatemala safely.
I mean, I myself, I've wanted to
What's it
do one of
like,
these trips
Ben,
since I
watching this
started
again?
in the field.
I mean, we see it back here. Like, there's so much more to
Two
orthotics
thumbs
and
up.
prosthetics and just providing a prosthetic leg, right? Like it's the whole person that you're taking care of.
Once you get to know that patient's story, you're highly motivated to get it right. And for me, the stress was, don't mess this up, right? I want this to be right the first time, and so that they can excel in their life.
The people are so motivated that it motivates you to do a better job. And the challenges that we faced there were kind of superseded by the fact that people were so passionate about being there to see us and so intentional about their rehabilitation.
Yeah, and the language barrier, I mean, none of us spoke Spanish going down. We had some translators down
I just
there,
want to
but
let this play out all the way,
sometimes that
Ben.
was a
I
little bit
mean,
of a challenge, but it
so you guys
also
have you went
technically
2
didn't
years,
matter
right?
because you get to see 'em.
Are you on the group that's going this year?
So I just went in 2021.
Oh, just the 1 year. Okay.
It was yeah, just the 1 year. We take turns essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So because uh, our first trip in 2021 was kind of a pilot trip.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Free Bed sponsored it.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, the sponsorship opened up to more individuals, and residents went this last time, and I believe our Vice President Scott went, and a technician went, Mark Singer. So yeah, it's cool for other people to go because you don't think about how good you have it in whatever area of the United States that you're in until
Mm-hmm.
you see what is available elsewhere,
Yeah.
and it's just an eye opener. It also, as I said in the video, like how motivated the people were to see us. It's really
Yeah.
cool to have that just 1000% effort on the part of the patient, because to them they've probably been waiting for months, if not years, for a
Yeah.
prosthesis, and to actually connect them with that goal, and to be sponsored by Mary Free Bed to do that was such an honor, and it was always a career goal of mine as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it connected a lot of dots for me, and I look forward to doing it again. I applied for this past year, but I'll continue to apply, and I hope to go in the future. It's cool to know what's on the other side of that too. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, when you first go into it, you have no idea. Your plane lands in a Central American country, and I'd never
Mm-hmm.
been to that area of the world. So um, to be to be sponsored by such an awesome organization that's been doing this for so long, and
Mm-hmm.
physical therapists came on the trip as well, which you'll see in the video.
Yeah.
And the patients were walking without assistive devices in some cases by the end of the day. Like
Wow.
by the end of, like, we deliver the leg at noon, and they were walking away from the place without even a cane at 3. It was really, really
Jeez.
cool. And yeah, and just to see what you can do with little,
Mm-hmm.
like, they didn't have a whole lot of tools there, so it was just all effort and
Mm-hmm.
ingenuity, and it's cool to see what you can do with that.
Yeah, I think the group this year, it's going to be 10 of the team are going, and it's all sponsored by the Mary Free Bed Guild. I believe they are funding and helping out with your guys' trip. There's other organizations that are sending volunteers to go down and help. And I think, don't they also, they collect uh, used prosthetic parts throughout the year that they bring down and you guys use, because medical
Mhm.
devices cannot be reused here in the States. But we were able to
Right.
bring those down, clean them up, get them into good working order, and then help other people down in Guatemala use those.
Yeah, we had to. They mail it to you before you fly out there. They
Okay.
use us as the transport. So,
Oh,
like,
okay.
another detail is, like, you know, UPS doesn't go to Guatemala, or at least if they do, it's not like, dependable enough.
Yeah.
So we checked the luggage, and it was like, I think I carried in like 200, or no, sorry, 100 pounds of prosthetic
Wow.
components, which
Yeah, because that stuff's
um it,
heavy.
it was it is, yeah, it was funny. And then coming into Guatemala airport with these huge bags, it was like
Hmm.
the customs guys were going, what the heck is this, like pulling out feet and
Oh man, that's got to be
yeah,
funny. Well, Ben, this has been
yeah.
such a great conversation. I really appreciate you talking with me. As we wrap things up here, 2 questions. How can someone, if they're in need of prosthetic orthotic work in the Great Bay region, how can they get connected with you and the team?
So they can call us at 989-583-3040. That's our direct line. You don't need a prescription to come see us. We can simply just have a conversation if that's the least we can do to introduce ourselves and our facility and our services. So yeah, if you're a pre-existing user or you're a new amputee, that's absolutely open to you. And yeah, we welcome any and all who are curious about where we are and what we do.
Awesome. And then last question, why should someone go in to work into rehabilitation or work in prosthetics or orthotics?
Well, I think I don't know this because outside of the short time I was a bicycle mechanic, I haven't been in many other fields, but um, I want to say that in a lot of fields, you're not exactly meeting the goal of your purpose in life and contributing to the greater good and your career path. So that would be the first reason, is that you can connect your greater purpose with what you actually do for a living, which is a really great feeling, and
Mhm.
it keeps your life going forward. Uh, I don't need to question that whatsoever. I love what I do. So and you work around other people who love what they do, and
Mhm.
how could you not love helping other people? Um, and in our case in particular, going into prosthetics and orthotics, folks
Yeah.
who love to work with their hands, who love material sciences, who want to apply that in the field of medicine. As I said earlier, there are not many, if any, fields quite like this.
Well, awesome. Well, Ben Hogan from Mary Free Bed at Covenant Healthcare Orthotics and Prosthetics. Thanks so much for chatting with us. Thanks for doing the work you do for the patients. And once again, we are celebrating National Rehabilitation Awareness Week. All this week, we've been highlighting clinicians from across the state in the Mary Free Bed system and celebrate the work that they're doing. Stay tuned on our social media channels for more videos like this. And if you need more information about Mary Free Bed, visit maryfreebed.com. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you.